Grand Rising, Grand Arrival, Grand Return. Peace and blessings to the righteous and the repentant alike. I'm Chief Sophia of the MariKaNa Band of Indians, and this is Don't Miss It Headline News, where we just go over the headlines of the news for each week, and we go into a little bit more detail in our weekly podcast that you can find in our YouTube channel for MariKaNa News Network. So let's get started. There's a lot of news this week, especially at the middle of the week. So we'll go through this as fast as we can, all right? So this is Monday, May the 5th, 2025. This is Cinco de Mayo, and it's also St. George Day. So I listened today to this song called Hero, which is a centennial gospel music classic song, which is the album is called Hero, I'm sorry, so by Kirk Franklin. If you haven't listened to it, it's a really good album. Spirit grifters try to drag you to hell with them, so we're rejecting and rebuking all spirit grifters. Trump calls for Congress to be expelled. It is expel all of Congress, okay? I think that's good. There's a YouTuber out there stealing my entire fasting schedule, which is very unfortunate. At the Met Gala, which happens today, the main colors are black, white, and burgundy. I don't know what that means, but literally everyone is wearing black, white, and burgundy. Except I will say that if you add gold, which some people did have gold on, those are redskin colors. So why the theme was black dandyism. So I'm not sure why they are invoking the black, white, and burgundy and with gold. But that's redskins colors, okay? The Falun Gong Act passes Congress. Hoteps make a song to get back into the public eye. No one cares about the Hoteps. Hotepism is dead. U.S. government knew that COVID vax trials were incomplete. I mean, everyone already knew this, but it's starting to come out drip by drip. All right, Tuesday, May the 6th, 2025. Rockstar releases the GTA 6 trailer, which people are not impressed, to say the least. Ed Martin is prosecuting 65% of DC arrests, which is great. India and UK agreed to a trade deal, which is good. Former Colorado postal employee admits to stealing ballots in 2024, which nobody told us. I mean, everyone told us that we were making it up when we said this was happening, okay? All right. Israel strikes airport in Yemen, totally unprovoked. Carney meets with Trump, but he comes out kissing Trump's hind parts, okay? Trump announces Houthis surrender. 2 upscale DC restaurants are raided by ICE, which is great. Operation Sindoor is targeted attacks in Pakistan over the Kashmir terrorist attack. There's a terrorist attack in Kashmir, and the response is this Operation Sindoor. This happens today, too. Smokey Robinson is facing an abuse lawsuit. Of course he is. Please don't get me started. I'll let y'all have your idols for a little bit longer. Apple moves iPhone assembly to India, which Trump tells them is not good enough. Bring it home, okay? U.S. rescues hostage from Venezuela. Another F-18 is lost in the Red Sea. FOIA reveals private corporations run the Veterans Benefit System. That means if you applied for veterans benefits because you got injured as a veteran, it was a private corporation who made the determination, not the agency itself. And so there's a lot of scandal and corruption that's going to be discovered as a result of that. Having a father who is partially disabled because they refuse to disable him 100%, even though he has 100% disability, nobody should have to work the way that he does. And basically, someone's going to have to pay for that. So I appreciate this FOIA request. I think it was Judicial Watch who did this, okay? OANN, One America News Network, is going to provide news feed services for free to Voice of America, which is great. ICE is raiding daycares, which is crazy to think. Like, I'm not going to go into it. Catholic conclave starts today because the time change, okay? Rodney Hilton bond hearing was overrun by criminal deputies, and that's definitely a threat, not only to Rodney, but to the judge. All right? And I'm not going to talk about his case because it's just know he had his bond hearing for his case. Okay, you can look it up. Rodney Hilton Jr. All right. Wednesday, May the 7th, 2025. Cash and Bondi arrest a state trooper, teacher, and a DC Metro officer in child sex raid in DC, which is insane. PG County. But as I've mentioned, if you ask me personally, PG County is like the domestic violence capital of America. There's more domestic violence in PG County than anywhere in this country, and it's not even close. It's very sad. All right, Charlemagne the God taps Jonathan Majors for a film called True Threat, which is great. Department of Education says schools that are persistently dangerous must be listed and options provided, which is good. Chinese woman who went viral for racial slurs at a black woman is forced to apologize. The Chinese government picks her up and forces her to apologize. Basint says he met with Basint says he's met Maxine Waters on New Year's Eve in the Bahamas, and something about the electric slide, and she's really embarrassed. So that's interesting. Bondi says hundreds of new Epstein victims are identified from the videos. Tillis in North Carolina prevents Ed Martin from becoming the DC attorney. So he needs to go. All right. CIA was reviewing the grant list for the National Endowment for Democracy, which was a huge USAID funded organization. The Fed has a meeting and they leave rates unchanged. Okay. Also, no pope is announced today. Illegal is convicted of child rape. Lived at a daycare facility. He lived there. Welcome Kamadeva. Kamadeva comes up to make himself known to me, who I've never known previously. All right, Representative Luna introduces a bill to repeal the Patriot Act, which is good. India and Pakistan have a dance-off, which is, I mean, they're really mad at each other, but they're dancing. Okay. FBI botched the Steve Scalise shooting probe, which people don't even remember. This man almost died. Utah Hockey Club is now called the Utah Mammoths. Rescissions will be added closer to the reconciliation bill. And rescissions is where you just rescind your signature. And I bet people didn't know that they could do that. All right, please pray for and donate if you can to Rondell Sheridan. He's in the hospital and he's helped with his medical bills. 5 Memphis police officers were acquitted in the Tyree Nichols case. May God judge them fairly. Trump declares May National Foster Care Month. UK reclaimed British deal to distance itself from Chinese influence. Gaza aid pier injured 60 military people and killed 1, which is insane. Tulsi announces 60,000 additional JFK docs, and it appears that they did a trial assassination where they tried to assassinate him previous JFK before they actually were able to assassinate him, which is, I don't even have words for that. The Fort Detrick Biolab is closed due to a serious event in which the employee cut holes in a biohazard suit. And I'm not even going to talk about that. Fort Detrick is in Maryland as well. It is a giant mess. Okay. Trump nominates Casey Meads to Surgeon General. I don't know who she is, so I have no comment anyway. Trump using strategic realism in Ukraine-Russia negotiations. HUD announces an initiative for transitioning foster care kids for housing. This is a huge issue. When I worked with foster care kids, when they emancipated in DC at age 21, they literally just dropped them in the streets with nowhere to go and no money and no nothing. It was really, really horrible. And so I'm really glad that all these years later, now I've been out of that business for 20 years, and 20 years later, they're finally going to do something about it. It's really good, okay? The India-Pakistan issue is related to the U.S.-China issue because China is the one who is propping up Pakistan with their weapons and stuff like that. Pakistan buys all their weapons from China. China had 40 banks go under in 1 week, which is not surprising. High school juniors are being offered $70,000 welding jobs, which is good for when they graduate. Brokers in the truck driving industry are making sure that the drivers speak English before they agree to the contract, which is good. We need English speaking truck drivers, okay? That used to be a good business. People used to make a lot of money doing that, and they really like destroyed the whole industry and the whole business. All right, so Thursday, May the 8th, 2025, Trump declares Victory Day for World War II. Everyone else is celebrating it around the world. Now we will be too. All right, Hallmark gets political with tariffs. They say that their prices are going up because of tariffs, but actually everything is made here in America. So I don't know what's wrong with these people. Something called the Pocahontas exception comes up. I don't know exactly what that is, but Nigeria bans Pan-African, which is Burkina Faso rally, which is really interesting. UK trade deal is announced at the same time as a comeback tour, because this morning on May the 8th, a trade deal is announced with the UK. That is the very first trade deal that we announced, okay? Oh, there's 2 ODs outside New York Presbyterian Church in Northwest Washington, D.C., which is very sad. They hold a Mother's Day event at the White House. Someone says a very powerful statement. A Timu as Timothy Chalamet. I don't know when I'm going to use it. I don't know where I'm going to use it. But I feel like that's going to relate to something. All right. A new pope is announced today. His name is Robert Prevost of Chicago. He's going to be known as Pope Leo the 14th. And, of course, he is anti-Trump. Bill Gates speeds up giving away wealth, which is not going to work. It doesn't work like that. Biden is trying to rehab his image. Just keep that in mind for next week. Whites are okay with house Negroes. That's it. If you are an independent thinking black person, you have other ideas other than the ones that they hold, they're not okay with you, which is not how it works, okay? Jeanine Pirro gets nominated for the top DC prosecutor after they have to withdraw Ed Martin because of Senator Tillis. LAFD says it couldn't access water because it's designed for structure fires, not wildfires, which is stupid. Why haven't you readjusted your thing for the new threats? I mean, what is that? Okay, unacceptable, okay? Ed Martin, as I mentioned, he gets withdrawn from the DC prosecutor. He is now going to be the pardon attorney and the lead of the weaponization working group within the DOJ. Neither require senator approval, which is good. All right. Trump is disappointed with Netanyahu, to say the least. To say the least. David Sachs asked for repeal of Biden AI diffusion rule. The NFL and Browns are highlighting Shador, which I mentioned in last week's thing. It's really disgusting. O'Keefe releases Bondi footage, and of course, that's the same day Bondi has this press conference. Oklahoma City bombing FBI 302 says that there was a white Bronco doing recon. And when I think white Bronco, it immediately makes me think of O.J. Simpson and how they stood this white Bronco up. So I don't think they're related. I doubt it was O.J. Simpson doing recon. That's a very popular car. But maybe it's a car that a specific group, of government people used. All right. John Jones, who is with the MMA, wants to lead the fight against the gorilla. Like, this is just like an ongoing joke now within the black community. Non-citizen, non-English proficient truck drivers are being put out of service and have their equipment towed away, which costs very, very costly. It's like $10,000 fine for if you do this. It's a huge fine. OPM launches digital retirement. Finally, they've been trying to do this for 30 years and it's finally available. Transgenders are out at the DOD by June the 6th. I again am asking, why can't PBS make a profit? I don't understand. Why can't they figure out how to make a profit? It doesn't make any sense. China panics ahead of trade talks. They do. Stories about white people passing starts to come out. I tell White people, please do your genealogy. A lot of those folks was not white. Okay, they were passing. And there's the talk about passing versus presenting. Some people were passing and some people were presented as white, and they really weren't passing. It's a lot with that. Zelensky announces full ceasefire effective immediately. Pope Leo the 13th, who this new Pope 14th, Leo the 14th takes his name. He's the earliest born person caught on film, and he introduces a set of prayers to the church called the Leonine prayers, and the Latin Mass includes the St. Michael prayer, which is why a lot of Catholics want to return to the Latin Mass, because they want that St. Michael's prayer. All right, Friday, May the 9th, 2025. Pete Hegseth and DOD cancels his trip to Israel. Former U.S. Justice David Souter dies at age 85. Deflation is way up, which means the prices are coming way down. A Florida luxury builder is arrested for a Ponzi scheme with the housing. Putin hosts Xi at a tea party before was a 4-hour 7-course dinner. So that's a downgrade, okay? Nobody trusts China, and you shouldn't ever trust China for anything. Designer tequila is not using agave, and they need to be stopped. That's illegal. Okay, Democrat elected officials storm ICE facility in Newark, New Jersey, which is insurrection. They need to be arrested and thrown in jail. Republicans post support for Fetterman, which is nuts. That guy is crazy. Trump to build a national center for homeless vets with illegal housing money, which is great. Our homeless vets need all the support we can get. I ask, why do we need to mass produce food? I don't understand what the purpose of mass producing food is in a world in which we live. We don't need mass produced food. The rumor is Xi is stepping down in China, and Pakistan is threatening India with nukes. This problem starts to spin out of control over this terrorist attack in Kashmir that happened on the 6th. All right, so May the 10th, Saturday, 2025, Trump announces a Pakistan-India ceasefire. Rubio leads the negotiations, and Vance is very involved in that. There's a 3.8 earthquake at Marysville in Knoxville, Tennessee, which is felt as far down as Atlanta, because everyone from Atlanta on the timeline was like, was there an earthquake? What was that? Okay. The Texas Democrat judge was arrested for voter harvesting. I thought they told us in 2020 that was something we made up. Like, that wasn't happening. So why all these people keep getting arrested for it? That's really weird. Britain could face net zero blackouts, which is crazy. Indian media is bananas. They go crazy over the ceasefire. They want to fight Pakistan to the death. I don't know what this is about, like why the Indians hate the Pakistan so bad, but this is like a brother war that should not be started. It's unnecessary, okay? Mexico sues Google over the Gulf of America, which is crazy. If you pay for the maps, you get to name whatever you want to name. That's what they did to us. No. You can't complain about that. So, Michael B. Jordan passes IFA, which is okay. I mean, maybe that's his background. Saints lose their quarterback for the season. So, meanwhile, they could have had Shedeur Sanders, who was a quarterback, and that's where he should have gone. They didn't pick him. So now they don't have a quarterback for the season, and basically they're down a quarterback for their season. Too bad. Trump had to leverage Russian oligarchs. I mentioned this another day, maybe last week. Trump influences, basically what I'm saying with that is, it's not Putin who Trump has to convince for peace. Putin is already down. It's the oligarchs behind Putin, because if Trump doesn't make it impossible for them to operate, they're just going to kill Putin and put in another leader. So it's not the Putin he's negotiating with all of this pressure. It's the oligarchs, okay? Trump influencers were placed on a DOD watch list according to a FOIA request. That is insane. Somebody suggested that we turn Guantanamo Bay into the Singapore of the South, which I think is a good idea. There's 0 ships from China to California, but they're leaving on this day, but there's 53 that are already en route. Marrying a U.S. citizen no longer guarantees residency. Kai Cenat starts a streamer university, and it's under fire for only having black professors. But I mean, he got the best entertainers in the game, and they all happen to be black. I don't know what to say. Sunday, May 11th, 2025. Of course, happy Mother's Day. Israel says recognition of Palestine will get unilateral response, so they don't want peace. All right, they don't want peace. Netanyahu says U.S.-Iran negotiations are a waste of time. Dane Calloway says English is indigenous. I've been saying this for a long time. English is the native language of this land. Like, English is a native language of this planet. English is the native language of this planet. Period. I don't care. English is the native language. EU leaders Merz and Macron are behaving strangely, and people are wondering, is it cocaine? I will not expand. USDA suspends live cattle, horse, bison imports through the U.S. southern border due to the New World screwworm. Mexico and the rest of the South is not taking it seriously, and so no more imports. So that means our beef prices are going to go way down because they're not going to be competing with these people bringing in cheap beef from other places. And people don't understand how the economy works at all. All right. If you whoop the colonizers, they negotiate. Black people are starting to see this. The answer was always to fight back. They told us, no, you don't fight back. No, the answer was always to fight back because they negotiate when they're threatened. When you threaten them with tariffs, they negotiate. Isn't that a surprise? People are finding this out. Netanyahu announces that they're going to detox from U.S. security assistance. It's going to be more than detox. It's going to be more than detox if they don't stop this war. They need to stop. All right. Trump executive order tomorrow on drug prices starts to circle through the internet. And Germany announces that it's going to halt its AfD surveillance. The AfD is a rival party in Germany from the rulership party, and they were going to surveil them illegally, and now they've announced that they're going to not surveil them. So that's the news for May 5th through May 11th, 2025. Thank you so much for joining us for This is where it's at. Lord, wow, this is where it's at. No, this is Don't Miss It. Headline news. Lord have mercy, my past is coming back full steam. What I just call this thing, Don't Miss It. Headline news. Thank you so much for joining us. Peace and blessings, and we'll see you in the next video.